When I said, I do, I meant it. I thought marriage was about commitment, about building a life with someone you trust more than anyone else in the world. But sometimes, it's not strangers who break that bond. It's the person you share a bed with every night. This is the story of how my wife's therapist, someone I thought was supposed to help, ended up destroying my marriage. My wife, Sarah, had been going through a rough time. She felt lost in life, disconnected from herself, from her career, from everything. And as her husband, I supported her when she said she wanted to see a therapist. I thought it was the right move. I wanted her to heal. I wanted her to find herself again. But the problem wasn't Sarah. The problem was the therapist. A recently divorced woman who, in my opinion, projected her own failures onto my marriage. Sarah came home one evening, sat me down, and said, "My therapist thinks maybe we should slightly open our marriage, not permanently, just so I can rediscover myself." At first, I laughed. I thought it was a joke. Open our marriage. That's not rediscovery. That's betrayal. But Sarah was serious. She said she felt trapped. Like she had missed out on experiences. Like she needed to explore her freedom before she could fully commit again. And she told me it wasn't her idea. It was her therapist's suggestion. I remember sitting there in shock, my chest heavy, trying to process what I was hearing. My wife, the woman I had built a life with, was asking me for permission to betray me. I told her no. Firmly. I told her that love and trust are not things you slightly open. You either protect them, or you destroy them. She seemed disappointed in my answer, almost resentful. And over the next few weeks, things between us grew colder. She'd stay late at work. She'd spend more time on her phone. She became distant, like I was no longer enough for her. And then it happened. One night, I woke up around 2 a.m. and realized she wasn't in bed. Her car wasn't in the driveway. Her phone was gone. I waited. And when she finally came home, she smelled different. A mixture of cologne that wasn't mine and guilt that filled the entire room. She tried to sneak into bed quietly, but I sat up and asked, "Where were you?" Her face froze. She hesitated before saying, "It's not your business where I go anymore. I need this for me." My heart shattered in that moment. She had taken her therapist's advice and turned it into an excuse to cheat. And the worst part, she didn't even see it as cheating. She saw it as growth. I spent days in silence after that. Numb, I'd sit in the kitchen, staring at my coffee, wondering how the woman I loved could so easily walk away from the vows we made. She tried to justify it, telling me I was being old-fashioned, that I didn't understand what she needed. But what about what I needed? What about loyalty, respect, love? I realized then that she wasn't fighting for us anymore. She was fighting for herself, and I was just collateral damage. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I told her if she wanted to explore, she could, but not as my wife. The divorce papers were signed a month later. She walked away chasing freedom, and I walked away with my dignity. And here's what I've learned. Sometimes people hide selfishness behind words like self-discovery or healing. But love isn't about constantly searching for more. It's about choosing the same person every single day, even when it's hard. My wife's therapist thought opening our marriage would help her find herself. Instead, Sarah lost me. And no matter what she finds out there, I don't think she'll ever replace what she threw away. If you're watching this, and you're struggling in your relationship, remember, no therapist, no outsider, no friend should ever convince you that betrayal is the answer. Real healing doesn't come from breaking trust. It comes from building it stronger. I learned that the hard way. And now I'm learning how to rebuild myself from the pieces she left behind.